For more than 10 years, I have worked on the Neumann KH 310s. I love these speakers, but I have a bit the feeling that I'm ready for an upgrade. So I'm testing two other speakers, which are the Genelec A351B and the Dutch & Dutch 8C Studio. They are different price ranges, so I'm very curious about what the difference are. Will I choose for the Genelecs or the Dutch & Dutch, or will I stay with the Neumanns? All the three systems have been calibrated. I'm using the internal DSP systems. With the Neumanns, I'm also using a subwoofer, the KH750, and via the subwoofer and the bus management control system, I can calibrate the speakers with the Neumann system. And with the Genelecs, I'm using the GLM4 kit, also including a subwoofer. The Dutch & Dutch, they do not need a subwoofer because they are a full range system, which means they are starting with 20 Hz and ending with 20 kHz. I'm not planning to show you in this video how I'm calibrating them. My room is somehow well treated, but I have some problems in the low. So I have a standing wave at around 42 Hz and around 90 Hz. So all the systems show me a comparable measurement. I will test the speakers one by one. So which means that I'm not putting them all together on my monitor stands. I will first start with the Neumanns and then switch them with the Genelecs and then switch them with the Dutch & Dutch and so on. Because I think that you also need to get used to a system and put some time into it. And I do not believe that switching between the systems very fast has not additional benefit to my listening experience. So I need to put them on, put them off, and then working on them for 1 month. And after 1 month, I will make a decision. To start, I will now check my first impression of the speaker. So I will play the same music on all the systems. What is the speaker doing with my overall feeling, but also with the room? So let's start. Right, so what I'm doing now is I'm paying attention to where's the sweet spot, what's going on in the high frequencies, what's going on with the reverberation, how detailed are the mids, and of course what's going on in the sub and the bass and how detailed are the bass frequencies. And most of the time looking at the panorama, so how all the instruments are put into the panorama. I will start with my Neumanns. It's a near field setup. And in this setup, I contacted Neumann how to position them because I have a problem with my display in front of my speakers, and they advised me to put them the other way around. So in a near field setup, you can put the left one on the right and the right on the left. So yeah, let's start. All right. Yeah, these are the Neumanns. I know them very well. I think these are very good flat speakers. They are a bit, I feel them not very much detailed in the high frequencies. I have some problems with, I know that I have problems with identifying the reverberation of the whole track. Therefore, I'm always using my headphones. So I'm very curious how the Genelecs and the Dutch & Dutch are performing in this. I'm happy that I have the sub because the Neumann sub really improves the low mids with the bus management system of the KH 310s. So when you're using them, use also a sub. So the Genelecs are also positioned in a 1.5 meter triangle. I've opened now the calibration system, the GLM4. As you can see, it's doing quite some things here around 42 Hertz, around 94 and something here between 130 and 160. Very comparable with what the Neumanns have done with the calibrations. So in my room I have some serious problems in a low. Let's play the same music again. Okay, different. They are different. The first thing I'm directly recognizing is that the sweet spot is very broad, so it's very easy to find the sweet spot, which I like, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not always the big fan of this very tight sweet spot of the Neumanns, but I like this broader sweet spot. The reverb is very detailed, very clean in the high parts. It's way more easier to point the acoustics, the reverberation in the speakers, which I'm very happy to hear because I always thought I need to use my headphones for this, but I can clearly hear it. It's a very big difference to the Neumanns. The mids, I don't know. Honestly, I think I need to listen to them now for 1 month frequently and also to produce music with them. But my first impression was, they sound good. I mean, these are good speakers, for sure. For sure. Good first impression. Nice. Yeah, so you see here the room EQ software from Dutch & Dutch. To control the Dutch & Dutch, you need to have this app. So turning them on and off via the app. I'm not a big fan of this, honestly, but all right. Here the room matching is imported on the speakers, which I really like. Okay, yeah. I will play the same track again. Okay. 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 First impression, wow. To start, the lows are super detailed. It's very, very detailed lows. The mids are also very detailed. Actually, everything is very detailed, to be honest. The reverberation is very comparable with the Genelecs because it's a full range system. They have this technology with this bus management at the rear of the speakers that the subs and the bass are so tight in this track. And I mean, this track has a lot of subs, so wow. I hear more on these speakers than on the Genelecs, definitely. And more than on the Neumanns. So I have worked now 3 months with all the 3 systems. And my summary is that the Neumanns are still very good speakers for that price. They are very neutral, very honest speakers. I still do not like the reverberation, the high frequencies and the depth in the reverb. I always have problems to define this and need to use my headphones for that. And I do believe that the sweet spot is very small, very narrow, so you need to sit on one position to identify the image of the speakers. Looking at the Genelecs, I also think these are very good speakers. The highs and the reverberation and the depth in the room is better in contrast to the Neumanns. Also, the sweet spot is broader, so the image by moving your head is easier to identify and makes it more pleasant to work with them. But there's a huge disadvantage, I think, and this is the mid-range of the Genelecs. I felt that they were all over the place. It was very hard to mix my music in the mid frequencies, especially when you're working with more classic or orchestral music with piano sonatas where the focus is on the mid-range rather than on the very high frequencies or the very low frequencies. Then I think the Genelecs are really failing. And this is, I mean, a bit disappointing for these kind of expensive speakers. Last but not least, the Dutch and Dutch. I think they are superior in everything. I think they have very good high frequency representation. The reverberation and the depth in the speakers is very comparable with the Genelecs. Also looking at the mid frequencies, the classical music and piano music with the focus on the mids was very detailed, represented, so that was very nice. And also the low frequencies, because the sub is in the system, was a good representation of this. The sweet spot is also a bit more narrow. It's not that broad in comparison to the Genelecs, but still pleasant to work with. The only disadvantage with the Dutch and Dutch is that you need to start them with an app, which I still think it's stupid. Is it worth the upgrade? Going from the Neumanns to the Genelecs, or even from the Neumanns to the Dutch and Dutch? Let's see. Yes, I think that the Dutch and Dutch are worth it. They are way more expensive, of course, but in overall they are superior than both the Neumanns and the Genelecs. So this is my decision. However, I don't think that you should upgrade from the Neumanns to the Genelecs, because the mid representation is so weak that you can better stay with the Neumanns and compensate the weakness of the Neumanns with a good piece of headphones. So I hope you like this video. It is somehow, of course, a bit comparing apples with oranges, but I found it very interesting to have a look at these different price ranges of speakers and how huge the differences are. And to me, the differences are worth the upgrade.